Hey, what's up, guys? Richard here, back with another episode of the Cosmic I Ching series, where we are going through all 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. This new version of the I Ching, cosmic version of the I Ching, called the I Ching Oracle of the Cosmic Way. I highly recommend you get it and read it, because the information in this book is absolutely astounding. When you really see what's going on. And I hope this series is going to be very valuable to everyone in human design, so that they can just simply listen to their hexagram, their gate and line, and get a broader understanding of what that hexagram really means in the cosmic context. And with the cosmic context comes all these other things we've been discussing, like the sage, the cosmic teacher that anyone can have access to at any time. And the RTCM, the retrospective three coin method of consulting the I Ching, where you can simply toss three coins, before or after a hexagram, or just if you have any question at all, and communicate with the sage, the cosmic teacher, in that manner. And another thing is the helpers of the invisible world that we've been learning about all throughout this series. These helping aspects of consciousness, which, when you're in the right mindset, come to help you with everything you do. And also the importance of ridding ourselves of mistaken ideas and beliefs. That's absolutely crucial and critical here. And speaking of that, we find ourselves on hexagram 49, renewal, also more commonly known as revolution, and also ending fate is another meaning they give here. And this is fire in the lake over fire. I love this one. The judgment. On your own day, you are believed. Supreme success, furthering through perseverance. Remorse disappears. The cosmic theme of this hexagram is renewal. This word is preferable to revolution because the context of revolution has to do with the way the collective ego proceeds in making radical changes. Renewal has to do with the way the cosmos transforms things constantly from within. The difference between the two is that revolution replaces one form of ego domination by another, while renewal reharmonizes and reunites aspects of ourselves that have been forced or oppressively been held apart. The word revolution also refers to other negative kinds of changes, venerating what was formerly despised, or replacing an established belief or false enthusiasm with a new belief or enthusiasm. Renewal, by contrast, implies the interaction of ridding oneself of decadent beliefs. Decadent beliefs. This action restores the personality to its original strength and capabilities in such a way as to engage the helpers. It removes all the impediments that impair the efficient operation of one's naturally perfect inner program. It never replaces one system with another. It only eliminates what is false. Renewal also refers to the changes that are made in another's consciousness when we say the inner no to the ego in him and ask the sage in his presence to displace it. This allows the other to shed the ego aspect that is active in the particular circumstance and relate from his true feelings. It is not a permanent change, but it brings out the best in that person during that time and overcomes obstacles that would appear insurmountable. Relating to others in this way on a daily basis strengthens their relationship with the sage, enabling them to recognize that the sage exists, allowing them a glimpse of their true feelings, and to sense that something out of the ordinary has been present in the situation. The ordinary referring to the parallel reality created by the collective ego. And indeed, that's one of the central themes of this knowledge, this book, is that, in fact, most of humanity is, in fact, living in a parallel reality created through our mistaken ideas and beliefs, which project themselves into reality and create that reality for us. It's called the parallel reality because we're actually not living in the true cosmic reality the way things are supposed to be. We've gone off and created this kind of false reality for ourselves collectively as humans because of our beliefs, our mistaken beliefs we have, and that has actually separated us from the cosmos. Part of one of the whole reasons of the I Ching, purposes of the I Ching is it refers to crossing the great water, which is a metaphor for bridging the gulf between our parallel reality and the true cosmic reality, getting back to the cosmic reality. The great water being the sea of mistaken ideas and beliefs of our collective ego. Renewal also addresses the way a fate can be ended. The fate addressed by this hexagram has been created by a person's mistaken beliefs about the origin of fate, as when he sees fate as the decree of a higher will, as written in the stars, in the lines of his hands, or in a script written by himself before he was born, or when he believes in death as an inevitable fate. Such beliefs have drawn people to false conclusions about the origin of fate, and also to false conclusions about how to relate to fate. They fail to recognize that humans are themselves the creators of their fates through acting upon mistaken ideas and beliefs invented by the collective ego about the cosmic way. A person's fate may be ended at any time by bringing his understanding into harmony with the cosmos. Otherwise, the fate will run its course, which is a specific time like that of a prison sentence. The length of time depends upon the degree of obstinacy and rigidity with which the person holds to his mistaken ideas and beliefs. On your own day, you are believed can be telling a person that he has the opportunity to end his fate, or that a fate from which he has suffered is coming to an end because it has run its full course. Remorse disappears refers to the blame that is extinguished with the ending of the fate. The person whose fate is coming to an end is being informed that he needs to examine whether he has any feelings of guilt connected with what caused his fate, and if so, to free himself of them. Remember, guilt is purely an invention of the collective ego. It doesn't exist. You never have to feel guilty about anything because it's not a real feeling. It's not a real emotion. Revolution, in the sense of revolving, i.e. turning around, can refer to the way the collective ego turns cosmic truth around to make it fit into its hierarchical ordering. Fate as a cosmic law is an example of this. Fate is the cosmic response to discord created by the disharmonious thoughts and actions of humans. It is a law of physics that has nothing personal about it and is easily corrected by a sincere and voluntary retreat of the person from his wrong viewpoint. The collective ego, however, presents fate as the arbitrary judgment of a supernatural feudal lord that is leveled upon people. This gives the erroneous impression that a person can appeal to the supernatural element and make deals with it to spare himself. Another example of this turning around of cosmic truth is the fact that the collective ego claims that renewal is brought about by making changes. The cosmos, through fate, creates transformation that restores harmony. A person who follows the collective ego's ideas will mistake the symptoms of his problem for its causes, and thus only change its symptoms. He puts the emphasis on changing his opinion, appearance, manners, technique, policies, or place, etc. And remember, we've found through this version of the I Ching that the I Ching is properly translated as the book of transformation, not the book of changes. And that's a very key point throughout. Spells connected with this hexagram have to do with the mistaken beliefs about fate, such as those mentioned above, or that one must use power to make changes, or that true changes can be made by changing one's viewpoint, or by exchanging one human-centered belief for another. Other spells concern mistaken beliefs about how renewal is to occur, as mentioned above. The particular helpers associated with this hexagram, in addition to the helper of transformation, is the helper that brings wrong paths to a halt, and the helper that ends fate. Correcting oneself voluntarily engages the helper of increase. However, increase does not happen if one corrects himself in order to get the increase. It's all about your attitude. That's what we're learning here. It's all about your consciousness, your invisible consciousness. Line 1, wrapped in the hide of a yellow cow. There is always an opportunity for a person to end his fate if he is willing to question his beliefs about fate. Wrapped in the hide of a yellow cow is a metaphor for someone who is wrapped up in a belief system. The hide represents the tough guardian phrases that justify and protect the mistaken beliefs. They are the first problem a person encounters when there is the need to make inner changes. The guardian phrases prevent him from undertaking self-examination, such as by ridiculing introspection as useless. It can't be that easy. It's just more new age paboblum. You're way out of your element. This stuff is crazy, and inner work is nonsense. Or by frightening him with regard to the consequences of undertaking his self-renewal. If you dig into fundamentals, you may have to change your whole life. If you do this inner work, your whole inner balance may get disturbed. And the truth you find may be terrible. Or by suggesting a person's incompetence, the need for a specialist, a shaman, spiritual guide, or master, or simply by suggesting that the undertaking will be too difficult. Or by suggesting that the time is not ripe, such as I think I should wait, you can do this later, or that time will take care of the matter. You can outgrow the problem, time will heal it. All these phrases come from the ego, giving it time to regain its power. Receiving this line can also indicate that a person has just taken on the self-image behind which the ego hides of the truly spiritual person, possibly informed by some ritual. He needs to realize that this is not in harmony with the cosmos and therefore not a way to end his fate. Ridding himself of that self-image, however, can end his fate. Line 2, when one's own day comes, one may create revolution. Starting brings good fortune, no blame. Receiving this line indicates that a person is inwardly ready to face the mistaken beliefs that have created his fate. He now needs to ask for help to identify and free himself from them, the mistaken beliefs. This line is the source of the traditional excuse the various regimes in China and elsewhere have given for justifying a revolution brought about by force. The sage counsels that all resorting to changing things by force is against the cosmic harmony and creates a fate for those who proceed in this manner. All mistaken beliefs about, one, the meaning of revolution and how it is to be carried out, and two, how a fate can be ended, are to be corrected by saying the inner no to them and asking for the helper of fate to initiate the corrections needed. In all cases involving the helper of fate, it is necessary to ask the sage through the RTCM whether it is correct to call on this helper. And remember, the RTCM is where you can simply toss 3 coins, 3 of the same coin. And for example, if they're all heads, with the question in your mind, toss the coins. And if they're all heads, for example, that would be a yes, absolutely, that's right. 2 heads, for example, would be a yes, but indicating that there's some other avenue to pursue there. 3 tails, for example, would represent a no, definitely not. Or 2 tails, for example, would represent a no, but there's something else there. So that's how you use the RTCM. It's very simple. Line 3, starting brings misfortune. Perseverance brings danger. When talk of revolution has gone the rounds 3 times, one may commit himself, and men will believe him. Trying to get free from an oppressive old way of doing things by rushing to a radically different approach means that one is only jumping from one extreme to another, or as it is often put, from the frying pan into the fire. It is in the nature of radical external solutions to generate each other, keeping people locked in reactionary patterns. In this way, a person is prevented from ridding himself of the root of the problem, which would free him once and for all. The fact that people are ready within themselves to make a fundamental change in their way of life is simply not enough, so long as change has only to do with external conditions. Real changes in the outer circumstances can only come from transformations made within each individual, as its entire volume makes clear. When a person truly understands this, he will cease trying to correct other people by telling them to follow what is true for himself. Instead, he will say the inner no to any displays of the ego in them, thus strengthening their true selves. Then others will gather around correct principles within themselves, and a harmonious order will grow from within. Line 4, remorse disappears. Men believe him. Changing the form of government brings good fortune. Remorse disappears refers to becoming freed from the oppression of being locked in a fate created by one's mistaken beliefs. Men believe him refers to the confidence he inspires in others through having gained the help of the helpers. Receiving this line can also warn a person against drawing the conclusion that the phrase "men believe him" authorizes him to lead others. It can also refer to his aspiring to such leadership. In that case, the person needs to rid himself of his self-flattering presumptions. Changing the form of government brings good fortune refers to turning the leadership of the personality over to the true self. The true self understands that to lead means to follow one's inner truth, as each unique moment requires, and to ask to be guided by the helpers of the invisible world when there are difficulties, or when one has the feeling of now knowing the correct way. Line 5, the great man changes like a tiger. Even before he questions the oracle, he has believed. The great man changes like a tiger stands for a person who, with the help of the sage, the great man, has seen a thing with clarity. As a consequence, the weakness he has been feeling is replaced with a true inner strength and inner independence that draws the confidence of others. This confidence is such that people do not question it. The meaning of, even before he questions, he has believed. The great man changes like a tiger is also a metaphor for the helper of transformation that has changed the situation in the realm of the atom, thus creating renewal. This line can also indicate a person who does not consult the oracle or who interprets its answers incorrectly because he assumes that he knows what is correct. He therefore creates a fate for himself. Line 6, the sage makes changes like a panther. Without help, one only molts in the face. Starting brings misfortune. To be firm and correct brings good fortune. Here, the sage comes, accompanied by the helper of transformation, thus making a needed change in a person complete. Molting only in the face refers to a person who has made a superficial change, as by taking on a new self-image. Starting brings misfortune indicates that this kind of change creates a fate. A person may receive this line when he seeks to compel another who is behaving badly to change. Being firm and correct tells him that the correct action is to say the inner no, and when the other is encroaching outright, to say an outer no. The problem cannot be solved by any use of force. It is important in such circumstances to ask the sage in the other's presence to intervene with the ego in him. So yeah, you can absolutely ask the sage who's in every person's presence. That's one of the central messages of this book, is realizing that the sage, the cosmic teacher, is in every person's presence and can be called upon to displace the ego in another. Isn't that just so revolutionary? Such a revolutionary way of thinking about things. And indeed, it is true. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe right there, and I'll see you again in the next one.